Live with the first Friday stand down, first Friday in 2022.
Feels like I haven't been here in an actual month.
Well, half the beer in the beer fridge froze, and I blame you for not coming by and drinking all of it while I was gone.
You were closer to the office than I was.
So we're waiting on a couple of people to hop on today. We're going to try to be a little more organized with stuff this year and keep things a little more on topic, not have as many people talking over each other. I think we're going to have Walker Kane join us here in a little bit. Hot Dog Oil said he'd stop in and say hello, and maybe a couple of the guys from Tulsa. We're not sure yet. Still waiting on that, but kind of watching what's been going on with oil prices the last, well, we haven't done the show in about a month, so it's interesting. Everything's kind of been bouncing back, and I think that's going to continue through the year.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like the commodities business is the place to be at the moment.
Very interesting compared to last year because, or I guess the last 2 years, that all of these companies, once they stopped spending so much money on exploration, they're actually generating cash flow.
Yeah.
And they could spend money on exploration. They're choosing not to.
Right.
Which is an interesting turn of events.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be an interesting thing to watch to see who starts to step out a little bit. And play with projects again. I mean, I think a couple people have been. I'm trying to think of some of the rumors that I've heard of.
We have Walker Kane sitting here waiting to hop on. Let's go ahead and drop him in. Hey, Walker, can you hear us?
Yeah, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah. How you been,
nice. Man? I've been well. How about yourself?
Doing all right. Just trying to get sleep whenever I can, and
yeah. I bet you're kind of in the
office this year.
You're kind of in the rough part right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I think after she's 4 weeks old today, so I think things should start getting into more of a routine, but we'll see.
It's gonna be like a long period of time that goes by, and you don't really know where the time went at all. I mean, at least that's how it was for me. I just think about those first couple months or just like a blur.
I fell asleep opening gifts during Christmas at my in-laws, and I just sacked out on the couch, and they didn't even bother to wake me up. I woke up and everybody was having dinner. So
I think that's one of your first official dad life moves. Because you fell asleep during presents.
I guess just so. Left you there. I mean, my child wasn't opening any gifts, so what do I do, right? So, Walker, you are a geologist, and now you're kind of doing a little bit of the deal-making side of the business. Can you kind of go over your background a little bit and what you're up to these days?
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to TCU and got a degree in geology, and graduated in 2011, and moved here to Austin to work for a small E&P, and they had me out in the field mud logging and steering some Austin chalk laterals. So that was a lot of my life, just driving out to Polk, Tyler, Jasper counties, and then coming back to Austin to do a little work in the office. So I did that for about 3.5, almost 4 years. And then when oil prices crashed in 2014, 2015, we started looking for private equity money, and really just couldn't get the job done. So a lot of us got laid off. So after that whole debacle, I kind of decided, I wanted to control a little more of my own destiny. So I kind of started looking for small working interest positions that I could purchase, and have kind of just been doing that since. And that's really evolved for me in a couple different areas. Mainly one that I've focused on a lot is the Eastern Shelf. I work real closely with an operator over there. He and I have kind of got a business partnership put together where we have funding from another group, and we can go out and hunt non-operated working interest deals that are out on the market, or we can pick up operated deals kind of in our geographical area. And yeah, that's what I'm doing today. We're blowing and going. We were able to close on a pretty sizable deal for us recently, so I'm working on getting that integrated and getting a new accounting system up and running. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun these past couple weeks with commodity prices coming back up again. And but yeah, that's pretty much my story.
Ready to start making some money on that new acquisition, right?
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of work that goes into putting all the numbers and everything together before you start getting that return, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, this deal took, it was effective April 1st, and we didn't close till December 13th. So it was many months of, getting the thing closed and negotiating the PSA. And I mean, you guys know all the steps in the process. Gates, you're a landman. You've seen every step of that process. So,
what would you say that your success rate has been so far on actually closing deals that you have started going down and spending a considerable amount of time working on? Because I know there's kind of a period of time during that process where anything can go wrong and derail that. And you've spent months of your time and money working on trying to get that put together, and then somebody throws a wrench in there.
mm-hmm.
How has that worked out for you guys?
I wouldn't want to set a precedent with the deal I just described, because it was way bigger than the deals that we were looking at prior. So it obviously had a whole lot more process in it. And that's really the only deal I've done that's been that way. Before, the deals that I've looked at, are real small. They're in the Eastern Shelf or in South Texas. They're small PDP or secondary recovery type deals. And most of those are not super complicated, right? Like, it's just kind of a conversation, and then, a JOA and an assignment, and et cetera. But, my success rate, I would say, for those smaller deals, you don't have to put in so much work, because it's not like hundreds of wells or hundreds of positions, right? It's just going to be like a few. So you put in your work and your assumptions, and I'll just kind of run stuff through PhD Win and try to get a good set of assumptions from an LOE and whatnot. And I can run through that process, but mainly with deals like that, it comes down to, how do you deal with the person on the other side of the deal? How do you treat them when, I guess I think of one guy in particular who runs a pulling unit on the Eastern Shelf, and we were trying to buy his production, and, we couldn't just exactly nail down what he wanted to do. He at first wanted to sell 100% of it. And then he said he had other offers, and then he wanted to sell us just 40% of it, and he wanted to continue to operate it, even though we were originally going to operate it. And we just, when you're dealing with someone like that, it's almost like they don't ever want you to close. They just want to continue to hear more offer from you. So like, hey,
they like,
will you pay me more for less? They just kind of want to continue to negotiate habitually. So, success rate on deals like that, I feel like I've seen, I guess, over the pandemic, the success rate was really low because people really didn't want to sell what they had. They were like, I'm never going to get what I want for it. So unless someone was really, really distressed, they didn't want to get rid of it. So we really only closed one deal in 2020, and I looked at about 10, mostly out in the Eastern Shelf, one in South Texas, but couldn't get anyone to sell for a reasonable price at the time, which good on those people for not selling, because I'm sure a lot of them are now back in the black with their properties.
Yeah. So I know, intern, y'all were spending a lot of time looking at deals that people were expecting, 2018 prices on something where you can't offer that amount, right?
Yeah, and recently it seems like the money has come back. Yeah, so people are paying, especially in the Permian, people are paying higher valuations for stuff again.
Oh, another beer.
Yeah. So it's been interesting to watch the market move kind of up and down in different directions the last couple of years. Gates went for a beer refill.
I think you're the one that left these atrocious things in here.
Is that?
You got to stay hydrated, man. Sorry. So, what are you kind of seeing for y'all's outlook for the rest of the year? Are y'all still going to be trying to make more acquisitions, or are you going to be content with what you've just acquired and kind of getting that set up, or what's your game plan?
Yeah, we're going to try to keep moving and shaking. The participation agreement that we signed with our funding partner, I think they're probably going to change that up because, we set all that up kind of in a lower price environment, and it's just a little too much of a sweetheart deal for them to do that, in the current environment. So we're probably going to move some of those numbers around, but we're going to keep blowing and going, go after a couple more non-operated deals, as well as, some things that we've always wanted to do over in the Eastern Shelf that are kind of now a little more within reach since we've got a little more cash flow. So, and, to the extent that my business partner and I can do things on our own without our funding partner, we're going to try to do some of that as well. And maybe even get into, some recompletions and hopefully drill a well soon. But, I think our main focus is just going to be on these bigger non-operated deals that we can use our funding partner for, because that's the most bang for our buck. That's the best use of our time.
So we've got Hot Dog Oil just joined the lobby. He's sitting here waiting, and I'd like to add him in because I know that he runs his own outfit up there in Michigan, and they've been kind of shopping around looking at a bunch of deals. I think he's been kind of traveling all over the place, and kind of like to see if y'all are looking at kind of similar deals or kind of how that works, the difference in geography there? Let's see. Here we go. What's up, Hot Dog? How you doing? We can't hear you, man.
Oh,
you
guys doing good?
Got it. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
We're staying warm. It is a frigid 40-something degrees outside right now.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I get it. We're -6 this morning. It was pretty bad. So,
jeez.
That's all right.
So,
part of the deal. So,
Hot Dog, I don't know if you caught much of what we were just talking about with Walker, but he kind of runs his own shop out of Austin, and we were just talking about how they've been looking at deals over the last couple of years and taking a good look at stuff, making a few acquisitions and things. I know you're going through the same process. Sure. How are things looking for you guys up there?
It's for us, we have probably 3 deals on the table right now. We're actually doing a field tour next week for a decent size, about 30 wells. I think for us right now, it's those 3 main deals. We also, in our basin, it's just a little bit different. We try to target certain assets that I don't want to say aren't the hottest by any means because we want a good return, but it has to be bolt on for us, right? We're not chasing stuff that's up north just for the sake of it being up north and in a busy area. It's just like I imagine it's just like folks in Texas. They don't always want to go after the stuff in the Permian because it's the most sexy or whatever it is, right? I mean, that's not how we operate. We want to be strategic and have bolt-on acquisitions. I just got off the phone with a guy for the deal we're doing, and any deal that we do right now, my first question always is it contract pumped or is it pumped by the actual company itself? Because if it's pumped by the company itself, well then it might be a no for us off the bat, because finding people right now, and we even see this in our own little circle, is the hardest thing. You could have the best wells, whatever it is, but if I don't have people down there, I mean, I just don't, and that's just part of the deal. So, for instance, there's a well a mile away from the well I'm always posting on Twitter, and it's a great well, and we're getting it for, I think, a pretty darn good price. But the problem is, for a 22 barrel a day well, that's pretty sour. It sounds great, but there's no one to pump it. Right. So what do? I have to put SCADA on it, or do I go down there myself? Well, we'll bite the bullet and I'll go down there once in a while to check on it, but we need to have SCADA on it. So that's kind of where we're at. We're not a huge company by any means, but we are, I was for the past 2 days, I was down in up in our West Branch office, which is like our main office in Northern Michigan. And our motto this year is, it's just, and there's no hiding, it's be aggressive. It really is. It's be aggressive. And we're looking in things from Michigan to Oklahoma and not so much Texas, but Oklahoma we're very heavily looking into as well. So there's just a lot of different ways of how we're going about it, but we just want to be aggressive. So that's the main thing.
That's funny you say that. I totally agree. I think the pumper is probably one of the best sources of deal flow in our area. Our main pumper is, he's a contract pumper with us, but also with other operators. And he's always relaying us information like, hey, these guys aren't paying their bills, or, hey, these wells make a lot of money and I think these guys would sell. And they're a lot of them properties that he already pumps, or he knows who pumps them. And I love that model because it's the word of mouth. It's the word of mouth that, nobody else hears about. And it's the way to get, be the first one to get a look at a deal.
It's nobody knows those assets better than the pumper themselves, right? And even
absolutely,
the company, I should say, owns, 50 plus wells, but if I'll just be blunt, if I went up to a certain well, I can't tell you right off the bat what the total depth of it is. I just can't. Right? I need to go through my notes. I need to look through it. I need to do all that. where a pumper would know. I guess getting back onto the deal side, one thing that we're very strong on, and this is not really a tactic or anything like that. There's no secret to it. We're very aggressive, but we're also very cognizant of the market. So you see prices right now at 78 or 79, and they look sexy, but we're also very aware that anything could change any minute on that with variance and whatever it is. So people might be pushing stuff out there right now, but we're not necessarily going to be the company for them to bite on it at such a high price. We're just not. That's not our model, and we take into account a lot of P&A and plugging in and abandonment, which there is a true value and cost in doing that. You pick up a 30 well package, well, you're picking up $1.5 million of liability.
Well,
right? That's noble.
In Michigan, there's a much more significant bond that those wells would already have in place, correct?
Yeah, we have a $250,000 blanket bond.
Are you seeing a lot of salvage value in your P&A?
Off the pump jack, no. But the pipes and that, yeah. Oh yeah. And to be honest, we're not in the business of P&A wells, so we're going to keep those bastards going as long as we can.
Yeah.
But I had a company up the road from us just P&A a well, and the pump jack. They'll float those pump jacks around to other outfits or other wells for themselves. We have a P&A pump jack that we are going to use in a duck that for a small little Antrim gas well that we have to frack out. But yeah, our outfit, we have three gas plants on top of some odd oil wells. So we just have a lot of stuff. So it's just there's a lot of equipment there. But yeah, off the regular pump jack, yeah, it's pretty good value.
Yeah, we do a lot of non-op as well. I was telling them earlier that we just recently made an acquisition that came with quite a bit of plugging liability, that reduced the base purchase price quite a bit. But a lot of those plugging AFEs have started to come in just here in the first couple months, first month and a half that we've actually owned the properties. And, ones that we were thinking we were going to have to fork over a bunch of money for, we're getting a credit on.
Sure.
Which has been, really fantastic for the performance of our purchase. But,
yeah,
I'm just curious if that translates to what goes on up north or in other areas.
Our biggest, just talking to a lot of different guys, I don't think our plugging cost or any of that. I think where our cost up here differentiates from you guys is our pumper cost. Our pumper cost up here is expensive. It just is. I have there was wells that we had that were getting $1,500 per pumper on. Per person. It was pretty expensive. I don't really see too much difference on prices. Michigan is a very solid basin in the fact that we have a lot of our wells were drilled by Shell in 1990. There's a lot. The equipment's there. We have many service providers and everything like that. It's just a different area. We don't. I will say we don't have the options that you guys have. If you always look on EnergyNet, which is however you want to think of that outfit. If you ever look on there, you'll see always one or two dots on Michigan. You look at Texas, there's 100, right? And by dots, people selling stuff. We just don't have that kind of environment. So that's kind of where we're at.
So I know you've talked about a lot of y'all's wells are sour gas and everything. In terms of the salvage cost or salvage price on, tubing and pipe and all of that stuff, do you think that that's affected by how sour your wells are?
No, I think a lot of it just goes to scrap. There is a process that they look at. I forget the term for it. they don't want certain things in the metal. If that's, I mean, I don't know the correct term for it, to be honest with you. But no, I don't. I mean, I don't believe so. No.
I mean, Walker, is that affecting anything with you guys?
Most of our for our operated stuff, no, we get, decent, get like a decently heavy crude over in the Eastern Shelf, but no, none of it's particularly sour. It just gets trucked with no problem. I haven't seen a lot of that for us. Now, we were looking at some stuff further west that did have some like sulfur issues, but that was one of the deals that we weren't able to close.
Because I know that's been a problem with all of the stuff that I've been working on down in South Texas, down in the real sour gas, and that's affected our ability to put sales lines in place for our gas, which, I mean, flaring, what was that, 2020, that flaring became such a hot issue, like early 2020, right? When everybody started talking about how terrible flaring is and how there's too many flaring permits and they're renewed indefinitely and all of that stuff. So the company that I've been doing contract work for, we did have some wells that we were not able to put sales lines in place on, not because of geography or anything, but acquisition cost and, distance from a, tie-in point with a midstream company that would take sour gas. And there were not that many companies in South Texas that would actually take sour gas. The infrastructure that you need to put in place to do, aiming plants and things like that at scale, if you go ahead and invest that money, you're certainly going to see a return on that when you're one of the only people that will accept sour gas. But the upfront expense of setting that up is prohibitively expensive, I think.
We have 2 amine plants and then 2 sulfur treats. So we have wells up north that are, one of our wells is like 1% H2S. To blow your face off. It's just a nasty well. But, it makes 150 MCF a day and I think 10 or 12 barrels of crude and jet fuel, really, to be honest with you. But we have about 10 of those that feed the plant, that one plant, and that's all going through amine. And amine really is just 80% water, 75% water, and the rest is that solution. But yeah, no, it's not cheap. I think we just refilled 300 gallons for $10,000. I think it's what it was. It's just part of that deal. But I had a question for Walker. I forgot what I was going to ask him.
So, I'm gonna add in Alberta garbage here real quick. I know you just said H2S blowing your face off, and I think he's got something to say about that.
Oh, here we go.
How's it going, man? You there? I think he's got us on mute right now. He's probably on location hunting bears or something like that.
Hey, I do know what I was going to ask you, Walker. Well,
sure.
You guys sell gas at all or no?
Yeah, we make about 1,500 MCF a day. So from our operated assets. Yeah.
Okay. What is it? Pretty rich gas or no?
I haven't looked. I haven't looked at it.
In other words, when you guys are getting, and I wonder how this all works, because we'll get paid for our gas, right? And then we get oh, there he is, and then we get paid for what's called plant product as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We get some plant product. the breakdown, I want to say it's like really inconsistent. When I'm like, I mainly do the accounting for that operation. So, when I look at revenue from plant product versus revenue from gas and like how those two might correlate, I can't get a handle on it. They don't, it's hard to match, and keep consistent just from, the money wise standpoint. But I haven't looked at the product statement in a long time, just because we've been focused on other stuff. But
Sure. Do you guys sell NGL at all or no?
No. These are real shallow wells, and all of our, the gas processing facility out there is pretty small. It's run by WTG, and yeah, I mean we get some plant product, but yeah, the NGLs. No, we don't get.
I always say about plant product, smoke it while you got it. So
that's
diminishing returns on it if you let that dry out.
Well,
Yeah,
you got to sell your product when it's fresh. That goes in all areas of life.
I wish I had a better answer for you, Hot Dog, and I'll look into it. Maybe next week I can.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious. We get a pretty good return, especially with propane being so high as what it is. We get a really good return off that. We sell NGL, and then we sell certain condensates that are 70 gravity as well. So it's just I always tell everybody we're about we're almost half and half oil, half gas. Kind of makes up our cash flow. So. That's kind of where we're at. Where's Alberta?
I'm here, man. I'm up north of Fort McMurray. It was yesterday morning. It was minus 53 with the wind chill.
Nice.
It is so cold that we can't work.
Yeah, I can't stay on too much longer, guys. But Alberta, what was that? And if telling me Celsius, I'm just not that smart of a guy. Give it to me in Fahrenheit. What would that be on Fahrenheit?
That would be about minus 59.
Oh yeah, that's pretty gnarly.
Holy shit!
Hot Dog. Gates just told me that you have a pretty good screen name right now, but I can't see it because I don't have.
Oh, intern's best friend. Yeah, that's correct. That's so correct. And you're gonna know it at NAPE. You're gonna know it.
I've stopped making fun of you.
I know. I appreciate it. The love is strong. I know it is. I had to go to one of our wells today, and I even posted about it just in our little group. That well, we had to shut a well down until Tuesday to get a steamer on the discharge line of our compressor because it's frozen solid. I mean, it just is what it is. But
yep.
I used to kind of freak out when we would shut down a 20 barrel a day well for 4 or 5 days, and now you realize there's only so much you can do. You just can't. I can't do anything about it. So.
I mean, if you find some point that maybe consistently has an issue like that, maybe there's something you can do to, put a heat wrap on it or do something to it, whatever it may be. But you're right. I mean, there's just, there's always going to be shit that happens.
Yeah.
You're never always ready for it, and you can just respond as best as possible.
No. And I used to kind of beat my guys up north a little bit down, why is this taking so long? After a while, they're doing the best they can do. And I truly believe that. And yeah, an operator needs to talk with your guys and everything like that. But it's after a while, you realize, okay, oil is coming out of the ground, products being sold. Just let it ride out. Everybody wants to get paid. So it's not, no one wants to just say, screw it, we're not doing it. Some people will, but not. I don't think we have that at our outfit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna shut up. I'm out of here, Alberta. I'll see you, Walker. Good to meet you. And
nice to meet you too.
Hot Dog Walker's gonna be at NAPE too. He was texting me about it yesterday.
I'm pretty sure I'm going. I'm about 90% sure I'm gonna go. So, but yeah, if I do end up going, I'd love to meet in person.
Yeah, you as well. That'd be good. I have a couple of reservations that I need to fill out first with intern and a couple of things I need to do before I do anything else. But if those slots come open, I'll definitely sit down with you, Walker. It'd be good.
You can
absolutely.
find me at the Hilton Hotel Bar.
I will. That's where I'll be. Yep, that's where I'll be. I'll be waiting for you there, like Dumb and Dumber with my tuxedo on. All right, boys.
Hey, Hot Dog, thanks for joining us.
All
man.
right.
Yeah,
Have a
thank
good
you.
one.
Later, hot dog.
Bye-bye.
All right, we've got WTX Oil's been sitting here.
Oh,
He's
man.
always driving somewhere. He's been sitting
My
here
man.
waiting. What's going on, man? I think he's got us on mute right now, but he's looking at
Yeah,
us.
I got you now.
What's going on, dude?
Now cruising out to a battery to go check on a few things. We had a leak there a while back, just making sure we got it repaired, and then got to go over to another site to look at an ozone unit, 2 ozone units that we have that we're not using. See if we can. It's got some really cool stuff in there, and some really expensive air compressors that we could probably sell.
What's the
Nice.
weather like in West Texas today?
It was in the teens this morning, and it's in the 50s right now. Kind of breezy, not like West Texas windy, but just a little breezy. Not dusty either.
Yeah.
Nice.
So too cold to work in Canada? That sounds awful. That's like
It really is. Yeah, I mean, with the wind chill this morning, it was minus 47, and yesterday it was minus 52, 53.
yikes.
So
Yeah.
That's like cold. Like even when you get inside your house or the office or something, like you could still feel the cold coming inside of that. That's so cold.
It's where, it's where you get frostbite in, you can get frostbite in minutes.
well, but you walk inside and then you're like, you've got steam coming off your head, right?
Oh, yeah, and then your face hurts. Like, even when you come inside and it's warm, your face hurts more.
I'm not jealous at all about any of that situation.
No, man.
I'm
I mean,
bitching
the
about
only
being 40
the only upside is that this is where you have to go if you want to sit on 675 billion barrels of bitumen.
That's some bitumen, man.
Yeah. Man, we're laughing up here. The discount on Western Canadian Select is like $12 right now, and the Canadian dollar's at 80 cents. So we're selling barrels of Western Canadian Select for $85, which that's about as high as it was from 2010 to 2014.
When are you gonna send me a mason jar of Western Canadian Select?
I can make this happen. So actually,
that sounds
I
like
got-
something I could mix into a cocktail.
That'd be neat. I'd be into that.
I mean, maybe we could send it to the evil E&P Empire guy because he mixes up all kinds of weird shit in cocktails. He could figure out how to
Oh
use it.
yeah, it'd be something. I mean, I'm sure a little bit of bitumen's not going to hurt you too badly.
I'm pretty sure the Native Americans used to drink that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, that doesn't mean it's necessarily a good idea. Just because
It's not
someone
gonna
else
protect
might
you.
drink it doesn't mean it's a good plan. But
Up until recently, people were drinking coal oil for different things. So bitumen can't be terrible, right?
no,
in moderation.
man.
Now you
Probably really good for your gut health.
You'd want to be drinking the clean coal oil now.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Right?
100%, 100%. But yeah, no, it's just so goddamn cold up here. It's unbelievable. So I got another probably 10 days up here or so, and then I'm actually going to go down to Abbotsford, BC, which is basically in Vancouver, and I'm steering a micro tunneling system for a crossing on Trans Mountain. So it's going to be a hell of a change because it should be, it's like rainy and like 5 degrees there, which is basically like
wait.
summer for us.
expand on that a little bit? You're steering through a trans what?
Yeah. I'm steering a micro tunneling system, like a direct to pipe micro tunneling system.
So how large is a micro tunneling system? What are we
I don't
talking?
know. It should probably be something like 36 to 48 inches pipe.
Okay.
And it's like a direct pipe installation tunneling system
Interesting.
for a river crossing for the Trans Mountain Expansion Pipeline.
Huh.
Yes.
Are there
And
Is
it
this the
is
same thing
trans
as,
mountain because it's not like a transsexual mountain or something. It's like
is Leonardo
cross
DiCaprio
mountains.
going to be present when you're starting construction?
If Leonardo DiCaprio is present, I'm going to punch him in the face.
He's going to be dressed like he was from The Revenant if he shows up because it's going to be so fucking cold.
Man, it's Abbotsford. It never gets that cold. It'll be like -2, and they're all like, "Oh, it's so cold." We're up here. I swear to God, if it went to -2 tomorrow, we'd be outside in like shorts and t-shirts. It'd be amazing. Like it would be like summer. We'd be out there with like parasols and a lounge chair and shit. Oh man, it'd be amazing. We're all excited because like, oh, it's gonna warm up in a few days and it's gonna go to like -12. We're all so excited.
You could have your bitumen drink with a little mini umbrella in it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, up here it'd have to be hand sanitizer because that's all there is. But whatever. You make
how
do in a
cold does
pinch.
it have to get when before y'all have to like start derating equipment like iron and the rig and maybe like
Minus
lift-
30, -35 Celsius ambient. So yeah, if it's below -35, we pretty much can't lift with our picker and stuff.
Okay.
And yeah. So
I wouldn't expect
mornings.
anybody's pecker to work at -35. So.
Oh, you put enough coveralls on, you wouldn't see that it's working, but it'd still work.
Stick some rubber on it, right?
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, anyway, I'm having a blast up here, just having lots of fun. But
Well, I appreciate y'all hopping on. I think we're gonna rotate everybody out. We've got a couple of people sitting here in the lobby waiting to hop in, and we're trying to wrap up. And
all good. I'll be in and out anyway. I gotta get on a call with my business partner here. We're knocking down a big old raise here, and it's been super successful. So it's awesome. I'm fun.
Glad to hear that, man. Walker, thank you very much for joining us. WTX.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Alberta, stay warm, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I will. Don't you worry. I'm sitting in the shack and I got 3 layers on.
Yikes. Good time. See you guys next time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Walker. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
See you later.
All right. Here we go. We got I think Boar and 90s and KP jumping in right now. What's going on, guys?
What's up, 90s?
Man, it's a little bit chilly here on the Gulf Coast, but I think people have not looked at the numbers, the disty numbers and the RBOB numbers. Everybody's scared. They think we're building. What they don't know is we got a lot of maintenance going on here on the Gulf Coast and the refining. When it gets a little bit colder, we have to have the heat dissipation. So we don't do cooling towers or exchanger pools usually during the summer unless we have to. So right now we've built probably quite a bit. There'll be some people cutting back. And I think that's going to give people some headaches in the numbers, and it's not going to give me a headache. It's clearly just a part of that maintenance, moment that we have to have around January till about March, April. So,
but
get ready for that.
You know that everybody on the left says that is again just oil companies orchestrating together to drive the price up, right?
Profits.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to say, right?
You can say what you want, but tell them to run their car without an oil change for about a year, and then we'll talk. Most of these units go 2 to 3 years without a good exchanger pool or a little maintenance. So that's why you're seeing like at Total in Port Arthur, Deer Park here in Houston, you got cat crackers that are going down at this point because they just can't take it. It's game over. We've pushed it to the limit. You talk about Alberta talking about some of his temperature. His pecker won't work at negative 35. Shit. Wait till you start running shit at like 100 degrees with 100% humidity. It's hard, guys. It's hard. Peckers can't take it. Both extremes.
Oh, I thought you meant hard peckers. I thought you meant it's hard, like peckers.
We always make sure our peckers are hard here on the Gulf Coast. We're ready to fuck.
Yep.
We come to fuck.
The Gulf Coast fucks.
Always, buddy. Hey, Landman was in Galveston. He knows. We're hard dick.
Man.
Scott
Oh,
will fuck.
We're drilling trans down
I
here.
just want to know if 90s is
Exactly.
like a walkie-talkie or something today.
A Nextel beeper phone.
I'm sorry. It's where I am.
Something.
Pasadena, Texas. I'll tell you, Permian probably knows it. Pasadena's kind of different. They still use Nextel, so yeah, that's probably true. How's Oklahoma, boy?
Man, it's I don't know. It's cold as fuck to me. Pecker worked this morning in the shower, so But I guess it's like I arranged a threesome, couple of no-shows, had a good time anyway.
I like that. Yeah, it is fucking cold here for us at least. What is it, like 25 degrees?
AP is toxic. He's literally, I don't know, maybe 35 feet from me in this office building, and I'm not letting him anywhere near here because he's got the goddamn chuck flu.
Yeah, up and up. I had to get
I
back
totally forgot something. I got to break in real quick. KP or Bort, one of y'all text me today. A guy lost his grandfather out in East Texas, and he's got mineral rights. And I was like, I could probably hook you up with somebody that'll help you, not hurt you. So I don't mean to do a deal. I don't mean to do a deal on Friday Showdown, but that just reminded me, guys.
No.
90s, are we trying to get a landman to find the grandfather or find the minerals?
No, the grandfather just passed away. We know where the minerals are. They're in his possession. So they got a probate, but they don't know what to do, and they don't want to get fucked. So I told him I might
go at the park, and we're trying to take his minerals.
over too hard.
Kobe was like BRV the other day was saying that it was funny. I mean, he doesn't really, or maybe he does, I don't know. But he was like, minerals a
scam.
He said it was or whatever. And yeah, you're taking advantage of people who don't have the information or whatever.
And the first person that agreed with him was Scott Leesburg, which that tells you something.
Well, he and I laughed about it, but PRV's got minerals too that he got from old ladies, whatever. So it's but anyway, that made me think about that. I got to sub in for him.
Imagine what he did to get those minerals.
We will. We'll get with you this afternoon and take a look at those East Texas minerals. The title will be freaking awful, I'm sure, but we'll definitely take a crack at it. What we can do. Anytime you see that, let us know. But yeah, the probate, that's sucks, but it's part of it, and we can make that happen. But you would be so surprised at how many people don't sell their minerals because of a probate, and then they die, and their kid has to do 2. And you're like, dude, this is way worse.
It's like $5-10 after that.
Yeah, and then it just keeps getting split. So then you got a guy, and you're like, hey, to sell these, you got to do 2 probates, and you own half an acre. So no one's going to do that.
You might do like an ancillary, and then some of the people are local for the descendants, so you got to do several of them. And if they're not contested, they're looking at $10K or so.
Yeah, so
never leave your kids in a mess. That's a good. We've seen enough shit. KP's seen enough of these messes everywhere. You're either gonna leave your kids in a fucking mess, which my kid will be in a mess mentally, I'm sure, from all my fucking shit. But you're gonna leave them in a mess with the estate somehow, even if it's not a big estate. You're just gonna leave them in a fucking mess, talking to someone like Katie on the phone one day, where he's gonna be begging for mercy, like, just get me out of this fucking shit. I don't want to get all these probates and shit.
Put it in an LLC or a trust or something. Get it out of
something. Just
that's right.
You own minerals, and freaking button it up before you get close to passing, because it just becomes a huge headache. And a lot of these people are 60, 70, 80. They've inherited these minerals 20, 30, 40 years ago. They've got a decent grip on it. Their kid that lives in California, 33, knows nothing, doesn't give a shit, and then just makes it worse and worse.
Gas.
Yeah, I mean, there's people with $100,000 in suspense, and they're just like, I don't know what to do about it. I don't care.
Okay,
And
well,
KP, we got to get better beer in this fucking refrigerator. This is retarded
that's
as fuck. This shit's
good, bro. That Rolling
if
Rock
you
is
drink all the Rolling Rock, that's why your beer sucks now.
no one likes it. I'm the only one that drinks it. It's been in there for like 2 months.
There's something wrong with
no,
everybody in that office.
Somebody was
we used to get after it in here. I mean, the summertime would probably come more live, but fucking, I don't know what happened.
Somebody was making fun of whoever bought the Rolling Rock, and then I literally come around the corner with 2 in my fucking hand. I'm like, I love these. And they're like, dude, we were just making fun of whoever bought those fuckers. But I think Rolling Rock's an amazing beer, personally.
So, talking about the mineral stuff, I think the worst thing that anybody could ever do is let a bank be the trustee.
Oh, thank God, yeah.
Of any oil and gas or mineral interests. And then I've had so many people that I've contacted who are, mineral owners, royalty owners, really, not mineral owners. And they live out in California or whatever. And you contact them and you say, like, hey, listen, like we've got, $10,000 in suspense or whatever. And all I need you to do is just sign this affidavit. And we can go ahead and clear that up and get it in pay. And they say, I don't want anything to do with oil and gas, so y'all just keep it. And it's like, well, we can't keep it. It
how that works.
It has to go somewhere, but it's not going anywhere. It'll go back to the state, which is probably going to get cheated back into oil and gas.
It'll get a shit to the state. That's right. That's 100% correct. You think you're doing something green by letting shit go as sheeted to the state, you stupid cocksucker?
How many years is it in Texas? I think in Texas, it's like
7.
I think you keep it for 4 years, and then I think you have there's like another time period after that, but it's like a more extensive process to get it out of the state's name. Yeah.
Exactly. Same with Oklahoma. I think it's once it reaches like 5,000, they demand a probate. And so, like, basically those minerals are gone. If they won't sign that affidavit, it's going to go back to the state. And there's a ton of minerals exactly like that, to where grandpa had 10 acres, he died, or great grandpa, he died, no probate, 5 kids split. So now each one has 0.2 acres, and they're like, there's no point in doing this. And so then they can't sell them, and then they're just like basically void, and then they'll go back to the state at some point. So it's like,
and a lot of operators wouldn't necessarily spend more than maybe a day of a landman's time trying to work on that stuff. And then they would say, hey, listen, we documented that we spent, a good amount of time comparative to what the amount is going to be in total. Yep. And we were not able to cure this. So then it does actually go to the state at that point. And unless some other landman comes along, like KP or whoever it happens to be, that wants to buy that because it's in suspense and spend the time to cure the title. And
then the caveat there is, how much does it cost to cure the title in comparison to what I'm getting? Because
that's right.
Yes,
if it's not worth a fuck,
I'm not going to
if you got like 1 acre
bucks for 0.5. And when a commission buyer or a mineral buyer is buying in a section, most of them don't call the 1 acre or the half acre guys, because they don't care to make 150, 200, 300 bucks. And so you never, and then, they'll look into it.
I know a guy who does make those phone calls though.
Yeah. And maybe so, maybe it works for him. But what I do is I find a lot of deals, a lot of times, where it's like, this just makes no sense for me to do. Like, it's just not worth it. My time, like, I'm not going to spend time to cure this to make $400.
I thought you were the guy that did that.
Only on big,
literally
bigger
just
deals,
hinting
bro.
that you were that guy.
No, I'm not. I will do it like if it makes sense. So we buy a lot of deals. We probably did, I don't know, 10 probates in 2021 with that, in reference to deals like, hey, we'll cover probate costs and we'll buy this deal from you. But a lot of times it's like, hey man, you've got $3,500 probate cost and your minerals are worth $1,200. So I'm not going to pay you $4,700 for 1 acre. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay,
Yeah.
if I got to pay for the probate, you own 1 acre, I'll pay you $1,200 for the acre, $35 for the probate. We're at $4,700 per acre. That doesn't really work out. So a lot of times I just like, hey man, there's really not a lot I can do for you. And then for the owner, they're like, well, should I do the probate? And I'm like, doesn't really make sense. I mean, obviously it needs to be cleaned up, but it doesn't make sense for you to pay that money to get your $19 a month.
Hey, you know what you need to start doing, KP? You need to start telling people that you'll pay them $10 now and you'll give them $1,000 in 100 years.
Yeah, that'll work out, right? I mean, honestly, some people probably would, because like Bohr said, some people are like, take it away from me. And I'm like, well, you got to do the probate before I can just clean it up for you. And they're like, well, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, then you don't have a freaking choice. Like, you're shit out of luck. So I don't know, but my point out there is button your shit up so that people like me don't have to deal with it. And also talk to your kids. Do they even want it? Do they know anything about it? Because what a lot of landmen do is, you know, the mom finally dies and the kids get it through probate, and they're the first person that someone's going to call because they don't know anything. They've never had to deal with it. And they're like, yeah, my mom talked about these royalties, but we never listened. And I guess we probably should have. But we just don't know anything about this. So we just want to sell it. And I'm just like, damn, like, you know, and then like I did a pretty big deal where I talked to the mom, and I was like, does your kid want this? And she was like, I got to ask him. And she goes, no, he actually said he doesn't want anything to do with this. He would rather me sell so he can invest it in something that he does understand. And I was like,
Well,
perfect.
Hey, like AMC stock. Hey, if I get kicked off again, just when I get a call, I get kicked off. So sorry about that. Just letting you know that's where I'm. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm at up on a call. So you gentlemen, boys, have a great day, and glad to see the stand down back. But yeah, I'll talk to you soon, 90s, about those East Texas minerals, my man. All right. Bye, guys.
He's got us on mute on the boat out in the middle of the Gulf.
See you guys.
See you, KP.
Easy, KP.
Some of us had to go to work today.
I was kind of at work today.
I also did some form of work.
You were working while we were doing
working right now.
Yeah. I mean,
Y'all are doing a fine
Are
job.
you still? Yeah. Actually, never mind. I'll say that.
I quit my job about 6 weeks ago, so.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. I thought
I
didn't know if it actually finished or not.
No, for some reason, I'm still working, but I quit. So, I don't know. Yeah. I think I've gone from being a contractor to a consultant. And there's been zero change in what I do. So,
which one's the pay? Is pay better as the contractor or the other?
Literally same pay. I think I'm just gonna ride this thing out for the next probably 2 to 4 months, and as our development schedule naturally progresses, I will slowly start to have less and less work. And the company that I contract through has other jobs to put me on as soon as I am no longer working full time on the current gig, which I appreciate. And they kind of said they've got enough work to keep me as busy as I want to be, which, you know, I mean, landman life has kind of started to get to the point where I need to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on here and maybe figure out how to manage my time, putting a little bit more into what's going on here, because we vastly exceeded our target sales for last year, and then exceeded our reach goal for last year's sales. So I think this year we're going to continue with the digital wildcatters model of just multiply everything by 35% and just call it organic growth. And I mean, we're going to be doing a lot of business this year, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to manage our time with that. And
I mean, some interesting stuff planned already.
I mean, fuck, dude, we're going to have a booth at the San Antonio Rodeo this year.
Oh, no way.
So.
Well, are you not doing NAPE? Do you have a booth at NAPE?
We're not gonna have a booth. I'll be at NAPE.
A booth at NAPE costs over $8,000.
Oh, I know.
Not ever giving.
And if you want,
ever
fucking
giving
carpet,
Dave a
you
deal
want a
that would-
chair. Oh, I hate the fucking APL. I fucking hate them so much. Like, they're supposed to be a nonprofit organization, and they have like tens of $millions sitting there, and then they charge you like
$50 million
$200 for carpet, another $500 for patting under that carpet, and all kinds of whack ass shit.
I will say, if we were ever going to have a booth at NAPE, we would absolutely hire 90s to work our booth, to just stand there and talk to every single person that walks by, because that guy knows how to work the room.
Then we'd probably tell them it was like the Landman Life booth, and then they would not sell us a booth because
Yeah, exactly. They would sell
or B, we would have a very normal looking booth originally, and then when we got there, like day of,
big dicks,
we'd flip it to like an anti-APL booth and get kicked out. And then they wouldn't give us our money.
What y'all don't know what y'all don't know is 90s knows the Carpenters Union here, and you see that patent for free. Don't worry.
I mean,
man, you should hire a couple of bums.
Probably
hire a couple bums to work the booth.
Anti-union kind of place.
So here in San Antonio, every year we do Fiesta, and that is like it's like a Mardi Gras situation. It's about a week and a half, and it's honoring the people on both sides that died at the Battle of the Alamo. And the Texas Cavaliers put on the River Parade, which
Hello? 90s, can you hear him?
I can hear you, Bor. I don't know what happened. It's like they lost their connection, but it's still rolling. So I guess it's the 90s Bor.
The Texas Cavaliers put on the River Parade.
Oh, he's back.
Which is a really fun event. 40 floats each year for the parade and all that. And
amazing.
Having done that, I don't remember where the fuck I was going with this. And
Martini right in.
Anybody?
The martinis are hitting. Oh yeah.
Can y'all hear us?
Should we just end it?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Ella?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We fucked something up.
Something dropped out. Me and Bor could hear each other, but you couldn't hear us.
Where's the comments section? See if people messages.
I don't know why I can't hear anybody.
I'm gonna text. Hold on, I'm gonna text him.
Well, shit. I guess that was the end.
But we can still hear you. You can't hear us still?
I'm texting.
You're texting
hear
them?
you
Okay.
guys, but I guess y'all can hear us.
Yes.
Anyways, thanks for being on, guys. And as typical, technical difficulties struck at about an hour and 8 minutes into the show. So we're gonna call it here, and we'll be back next week. Y'all have a good one.